What's going on, guys? Today I'm back with another Hat format replay review for you guys. If you're interested in sending in your Hat format replays, you can go down to the video description and find all the information on how to go about sending those in. Anyways, the match I have for you today, we have Tony Mark 7147, who is going to be on Geargia. I believe it might even be Geargia Hands, versus H.A.T, who is going to be on Constellar Artifact. Now, this was a Moral Tech Monthly 37 match. I can't exactly remember what round it was, but both of these players were fighting for the only undefeated spot, so you know this should be a good match. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Here, it looks like Tony does win the rock, paper, scissors, and will get to start this one out. Opening hands, we see Geargiano MK2, Call the Haunted, Debunk, Chalice, and Debunk. Tony's build of Geargia was really cool because he was maining the Debunks as well as Chalice and Lance. So I think that's one very important thing to note because it kind of is different from what we are kind of used to seeing with a lot of Geargia decks up until he started topping with this deck. And on the other side, we see Tenki, Koss, Scythe, Beagle Tech, and Instant Fusion, so also a very solid hand on the other side. And here Tony will get to draw for turn, getting a copy of Book of Moon, so not the most starters here, unfortunately. So it looks like they are just going to set 5 and pass over to H.A.T, who gets a copy of H.A.T, and from here they're going to activate Tenki and add a copy of Koss. After that, they are going to summon the copy of H.A.T, use the effect to special summon the Koss. After that, activate Koss targeting the H.A.T. Book of Moon is going to be activated to flip down the Koss. From here, Instant Fusion is going to be activated, though, kind of the perfect answer here. And it looks like they are going to summon the Madolche. And one second, why the chip level 5? I use Book on Summon. Oh, okay, so they actually didn't use the Koss there. They were using the Book of Moon on the summon, and that's why they're going for the Madolche specifically here, because both of these will be 4, so it wasn't a 5 yet. From here, they're going to go for Bujin, Tsukiyomi, and they're going to set the Beagle Tech and Scythe, use the Tsukiyomi's effect, detaching the H.A.T, and the Tsukiyomi is going to get negated by the Chalice. This doesn't send for cost, right? Detach one. Okay, yeah. So the detaching is part of the cost, but the effect to send is actually part of the effect. So they do get to keep the cost in hand here. After that, they're just adjusting the attack. They're going to go to battle phase and swing in for 2300 and then pass it over. Here, Tony is going to get a mind control, which is actually kind of funny here, being able to, use that mind control and take the Tsukiyomi, discarding the MK2 here and drawing 2, getting a Fire Hand and a copy of Fiendish Chain. After that, they're just checking the defense and then summoning the Fire Hand, going to battle phase and running over the cost. Main phase 2, setting the Fiendish Chain, I believe there, and then going to end phase, in which case the Tsukiyomi switches back sides. After that, H.A.T gets a copy of Tenki, which is a very good card. They're just going to switch the Tsukiyomi to defense, though. And from here, Tony gets a Dark Hole. They're also just going to pass it back. H.A.T gets a copy of Sanctum, which is very good here. We'll have to see if they're on multiple Beagle Tech, though, because if not, they'll probably just go for some sort of Moral Tech play or something, but even that's not great because of the Fire Hand being on board, so it's not really good here. But it looks like they're just having a little conversation. Tony finally draws into some engine here, and they're going to set the Geargia gear over to H.A.T, who now draws the cost, which is unfortunate because they, save that Tenki that they did have. Usually they're not wanting to do that because, they would just search costs. I don't know if they're on any copies of Bear. Some of the Constellar artifact builds will play like one singular copy of Bear or something just to have a little diversity. I know I prefer something like that, but it's not for everyone. And here they're just going to switch the Tsukiyomi to attack and attack over the Fire Hand, just probably at this point trying to run out the hand so the Tsukiyomi will get destroyed and an Ice Hand will be summoned. From here, they're going to go to end phase and Tony's going to activate the Geargia gear, summoning the MK2 and Geargiano. After that, they get a copy of Max C, which is very good if H.A.T decides to use that Sanctum. After that, switching everything to attack and trying to make a big push, but here H.A.T will activate the copy of Sanctum, summoning a Moral Tech here, and it looks like Tony was going to wait on that Max C, and it looks like the Moral Tech gets hit with the Fiendish Chain, and then crashing the Ice Hand into it to pop a back row, which unfortunately is that Beagle Tack, and from here, Firehand is summoned. Beagle Tack is going to attempt to activate, but the debunk is going to banish it. After that, Firehand is going to crash in, popping the copy of Moral Tack, summoning an Ice Hand, and now Tony is in a very good position here, being able to just swing in and main phase 2. It would have been bad if that Beagle Tack went off, especially because it would have hit the Scythe and left those Geargianos on board. But here, because, you know, that clutch debunk actually came up, they can go into main phase 2 and go for an Xyz, this time going for Geargigan X, trying to get into more engine, detaching the Geargiano and going for a copy of armor. Depending on what this was, they actually probably could have done like some funny plays if they had, well, I guess they don't really have anything great in Grave because they have no level 4s here, because the only reasons the MK2 and the Geargiano were 4s was because of the Geargia gear. So here they are just going for that, trying to get into a armor, so at least they'll have engine, which they can set, because I don't think they had summoned that turn. They started their turn with, I think it was the Fire Hand on board, or the Ice Hand. It was one of them. So here being able to just set that and pass, here Tese gets a copy of Soul Charge, which they're going to activate. Max C is chained to that, and they are going to go for Kos and Algiady and Moral Tack. And here Tony gets a copy of DD Crow. They're going to use the cost to increase levels to make them 5s. Going for a copy of Pleiades, Tony gets a Accelerator, and then they're going to activate the Tenki and summon the Kos. After that, increasing some levels, using the Pleiades to bounce the copy of armor, and just leaving these on board, not wanting to play more into the Max C. After that, Tony gets a Crow for turn, which is very good. Activating the Geargigan to get a copy of Accelerator, and Tese is only on 1100 life, so they can kind of just clear this up pretty easily, honestly. Activating that Dark Hole, the Pleiades is going to bounce one of the copies of Kos, and from here they could just, summon the armor and then go double Accelerator if need be, but they can just attack with the armor. This time, Tese will get to start this one out. Opening hands, we see Book of Moon, Torrential, Arsenal, Soul Charge, and Compulse. On the other side, we see Kos, Double Cyclone, Call of the Haunted, Rhoda, and Instant Fusion. Very, very strong hand here. And they will get a draw for turn, getting a copy of Scythe, which is great with that copy of Double Cyclone. Lots of plays can happen. Going for the Rhoda for Pollux. From here, they can do the Pollux Kos combo, going for a turn 1 Pleiades, setting 3 back row, and being able to hold that instant fusion is always nice. Tony gets a copy of Accelerator, which is good. They're going to go Book of Moon right away just to turn off that interruption, summon the Arsenal, special the Accelerator, and go battle phase, running over the Pleiades. The back row, unfortunately, doesn't do too much. The Scythe is definitely good, as I mentioned prior, but besides that, like, at this rate, going for that when the Book of Moon was activated wouldn't have really done anything. They would have been able to, like, go for the Scythe, but at that point, you don't really get any advantage out of the Double Cyclone, and against Geargia, they could just kind of set an armor if they have it, and then, you know, you kind of just wasted your card there. But anyways, main phase 2, the Arsenal is going to tribute itself to summon Geargiano. Geargiano is going to tribute itself to bring back the Arsenal, and then overlaying for a copy of Geargigant, using the Geargigant to get a copy of Accelerator there, and then setting 2 back row. In the end phase, Tese is going to use that Double Cyclone now, popping the Scythe and the Compulse. The Scythe can then summon itself back, and that's just to get a level 5 body on board, so this Instant Fusion can go into something, drawing into a Pollux for turn. Instant Fusion is going to come down here, summoning the Ojama Knight, and Tony's going to think here. They are going to go for Torrential. Nice. Using the Geargigant that has the ability that when this face-up card leaves the field, you can target a level 3 or lower Geargia monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. So that's why it's always good to kind of go through your Geargiano at times if you're planning to go through a Geargigant X play if you haven't seen your Geargia gears yet, just so you can minimally have a body on board that can be good for follow-up and stuff. So here they will be able to summon that back. And from here, the Pollux is going to be normal summoned and just run over the Geargiano. In battle phase, still Call the Haunted is activated, summoning the cost to do more damage, at which point this will be able to go into a Pleiades. Obviously, they were saying that they were using the effect, but not going through all the motions here, which is very good. And here they're going to bounce the Call of the Haunted, which they can reset, which is good because that means they can activate the Scythe on Tony's turn here. and then be able to lock them out of their extra deck if they try to, out this. Here, drawing into a copy of DD Crow, unfortunately not great in this exact situation. Activating the Soul Charge, bringing back the Geargiano, the Geargigan X, Accelerator, and Arsenal, so a very big play here. And here, that Call the Haunted is going to be activated, going for the Scythe, and oh yeah, I guess the DD Crow does kind of check the Scythe here, which is like perfect. And after that, they can go for another copy of Geargigan X, and I would assume they're going to go for an MK2 here, given how they were going for this, but it looks like on summon, they actually are just going to bounce it with the Pleiades, and here they can special summon the copy of Accelerator, and then kind of similar to last time, bringing back the Accelerator, going for a copy of Honor Arc, taking the Pleiades, and then passing it over. Tesse does get a copy of Sanctum here, and Tony is on kind of low life, so they're going to have to be real careful here setting the Sanctum over to Tony, who gets a copy of Flying Sea. They're just going to go battle phase, and they're going to take all the damage here, so really hoping for a miracle of a top deck, getting a copy of Lance, okay. And here, Tony does get a Max C. They're going to go battle phase, trying to take it here, but the Sanctum is going to be activated, and honestly, if I was Tony, I may have dropped the Max C here just because it's such a simplified game state that you'd rather try to get as many draws as possible. You don't really have back row. Like, sure, the Flying C is good, but in certain situations, you'd probably just much rather have other back row. There's not, I guess, that much you could draw into necessarily besides back row that you'd want, but even then, it's better than... It's kind of tough to say, because I guess if you're thinking that this might be like another Call the Haunted or something, then you could like drop that, and then if they try to make an Xyz, there's an argument for either way. Oh, they are actually going to Max C there, okay. So a little late, and they draw into a copy of Warning, and here, did the Moral Tack use its effect? Okay, they are using the Moral Tack to pop the Geargigan, and then that is going to summon the Geargiano, and then here, the 101 is going to attack into the Moral Tack. Lance is going to be chained to that. And it looks like, so at that point it is protecting itself regardless, but Tony does take a little more damage. And after that, the Geargiano is going to be used to summon back the Accelerator. And they aren't going to set the Warning. I know it's like a dead card here, but I think maybe even, I guess you don't want it in case they have another double Cyclone or something. And so anyways, here it looks like they go to battle phase. I think they had set the instant fusion there. Is that what? Yeah, because that's the second copy. So here, Moral Tack running over the Accelerator. Accelerator adding back the copy of Arsenal here, drawing into a Fiendish Chain, summoning the Arsenal, and now Tony's actually in such a commanding position here, crashing the Honor Arc, attacking in with Arsenal, using the effect to summon a copy of Armor, and Armor flip itself back face down, setting 2 over to Tesse, who is going to scoop it up after drawing a cost. And yeah, honestly, very good showing. Even with a slow start from Tony, he was able to, clutch it out and actually get back in that game, even through a very solid start from Tesse here. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it, comment any questions or videos you want to see in the future, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified anytime I put a new video out, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to go down to the video description and send in your hat format replays, or find out how you can send in your hat format replays. Even if you lost or won, it doesn't really matter. If you think the deck you played or your opponent played was pretty cool, feel free to send it in. I'm sure a lot of people would like to see that. But anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video.